Awakening the Ancient. The Terran Coalition vessel Dauntless hung in orbit around Europa, its sleek hull gleaming against the backdrop of Jupiter's stormy surface. Captain Maya Chen stood at the observation deck, watching as the science team's shuttle made its final approach to the mysterious signal source buried beneath the moon's icy crust. "Any updates from Dr. Okafor's team?" Maya asked, her breath forming a small cloud in the deliberately cooled air of the command deck, an old spacer tradition to remind crew of the void beyond. Lieutenant Commander Jackson checked his neural interface. "They've reached the chamber, Captain. The signal is stronger than ever." Maya nodded, her dark eyes never leaving the shuttle's trajectory. Humanity had spread throughout the solar system over the past century, establishing colonies on Mars, the Moon, and several orbital habitats. But this discovery on Europa could change everything. "Captain, incoming transmission from the surface team," Communications Officer Patel announced, her fingers dancing across her interface. Dr. Amara Okafor's face appeared on the main screen, her expression a mixture of awe and concern. The feed was grainy, electromagnetic interference distorting her features. "Captain Chen, you need to see this." The camera panned away from her face, revealing an enormous chamber carved into the ice. At its center stood a crystalline structure, pulsing with blue-green light. "It's not human tech," Dr. Okafor continued, her voice tinged with controlled excitement. "Based on our preliminary readings, this structure has been here for approximately 400,000 years." Maya felt a chill that had nothing to do with the temperature. "Are you certain?" "Absolutely." "And Captain," the scientist hesitated, "it's activating. Something about our presence seems to have triggered it." Before Maya could respond, the structure on screen flared with blinding light. The feed cut to static momentarily, before reconnecting to show the science team staring at a holographic projection hovering above the crystal. The projection showed star systems, hundreds of them, and something massive moving between them, something that seemed to devour light itself. "My God," Dr. Okafor whispered, "I think it's some kind of warning." 3 hours later, Maya sat in the Dauntless conference room, facing the grim faces of her senior officers and Dr. Okafor's team. "The structure is a beacon," Dr. Okafor explained, manipulating the holographic recreation of the alien projection, placed here by a civilization that called themselves the Aruthal. "From what we've been able to translate, they were warning about something they called the Void Leviathan, a cosmic entity that consumes energy on a stellar scale. And this Leviathan is headed our way." Chief Engineer Ramos asked, his weathered face etched with concern. "Not just our way," Dr. Okafor corrected. "According to the beacon's projections, it will reach the Tav City colony first, then Alpha Centauri, before arriving in our solar system. We have approximately 6 months." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Ta City housed humanity's most distant colony, established just 15 years ago. Over 30,000 people live there now. "Can we evacuate?" Security Chief Valentina Sokolov asked. Dr. Okafor shook her head. "Not everyone, not in time. And the beacon suggests this entity can't simply be avoided. The Aruthal fought it, and apparently lost." Maya stood, drawing all eyes to her. At 42, she had survived the Mars Rebellion and the Callisto Crisis. Her calm under pressure was legendary. "Then we fight too," she said simply. "Dr. Okafor, does the beacon provide any information that could help us?" "Possibly. There are references to something called the Sentinel Network outposts established by the Aruthal across multiple systems. The nearest one appears to be in the 82 Eridani system. That's beyond our fastest travel capabilities," Navigation Officer Lai pointed out. Maya's expression remained resolute. "Then we'll need to push beyond our capabilities." The Coalition Council authorized the mission within 24 hours. The Dauntless, retrofitted with experimental warp technology that had never been tested beyond simulations, departed for 82 Eridani with a crew of 150 volunteers. The journey pushed both ship and crew to their limits. 3 harrowing weeks later, they arrived at 82 Eridani, a G-type star not unlike Sol, with several rocky planets and a gas giant. Scanning the system, Science Officer Abernathy reported, detecting an artificial structure on the second planet, similar energy signature to the Europa beacon. Take us in, Maya ordered. As they approached the planet, a desert world with thin atmosphere, their sensors detected something else. Ships, dozens of them, in orbit around the Sentinel outpost. "Captain, we're being hailed," Paddle reported, surprise evident in her voice. The main screen activated to reveal a being unlike anything humanity had encountered before. Its skin was iridescent, shifting between blue and green, with large compound eyes and an almost insectoid mouth structure. "Terran vessel," the being spoke, its words translated by the ship's eye. "I am Kelvor of the Noor Collective. Your arrival was predicted by the Awakening." Maya stepped forward. "I am Captain Maya Chen of the Terran Coalition vessel Dauntless. We've come seeking information about something called the Void Leviathan." The alien's compound eyes seemed to shimmer. "Then we share a purpose. The Leviathan approaches our territories as well. Come, join us on the surface. The Sentinel calls to all who would stand against the dark." The diplomatic first contact protocols were compressed into hours rather than the months they deserved. Maya learned that the Noor Collective was just one of 5 spacefaring civilizations gathered at the Sentinel outpost, all drawn by ancient beacons similar to the one on Europa. Each civilization had received the warning within weeks of each other. The Sentinel structure itself dwarfed its Europa counterpart, a massive crystalline tower that stretched nearly 2 kilometers into the sky. Inside, representatives from each species gathered in a chamber where a giant holographic display showed the Void Leviathan's projected path. Kelvor addressed the assembled delegates. "For 12 cycles, our researchers have studied the Sentinel's archives. The Aruthal fought the Leviathan using energy weapons that could destabilize its form, but they could never destroy it completely. Each time they wounded it, it would retreat into deep space to recover before returning. Then we need stronger weapons," Sokolov suggested. Xylos, a representative from the crystalline Eridu Dominion, emitted a series of musical tones that translated as disagreement. "We have analyzed the Aruthal weapon specifications. They were far more advanced than any of our civilizations. If they could not destroy this entity, neither can we." Maya studied the holographic representation of the Leviathan, a massive, amorphous darkness that seemed to twist in impossible ways. "What exactly is this thing? Is it alive? Sentient?" "The Sentinel data is unclear," replied Talassi, a gaseous being from the Mira Consortium. "The Aruthal believed it existed partially outside our dimensional space, which is why it could never be truly destroyed." Maya paced the chamber, mind racing. "If we can't destroy it, perhaps we can communicate with it, understand its nature." "The Aruthal tried communication for centuries," Kelvor said. "The entity either cannot or will not respond." Dr. Okafor, who had been quiet until now, suddenly straightened. "Captain, I've been analyzing the Sentinel's data. The Leviathan doesn't just consume energy, it consumes patterns, ordered systems, stars, civilizations, information networks. Like a cosmic entropy accelerator," Maya mused. "Exactly. And it's drawn to complexity. The more advanced the civilization, the more it's attracted." Maya felt the beginnings of an idea form. "So it's not just mindlessly feeding, it's seeking out specific targets." "It would appear so," Kelvor agreed, "which is why the most advanced systems are always the first consumed." Maya turned to the assembled delegates. "Then we need to give it something it doesn't expect. All of your civilizations, like the Aruthal, have developed along logical, predictable paths. Your technologies, your strategies, they follow patterns that this entity recognizes. And humans don't," asked Xylos skeptically. "Oh, we have patterns too," Maya admitted. "But we also have chaos, unpredictability. We make intuitive leaps that defy logic, sometimes to our detriment, but often to our survival. Over the next month, as the Void Leviathan continued its inexorable approach toward inhabited space, the allied species worked feverishly to implement Maya's plan. The Noor Collective provided their advanced sensor technology. The Eridu Dominion contributed their crystal-based energy amplifiers. The Mira Consortium offered their dimension-folding transportation system. But the heart of the plan relied on human unpredictability, specifically an experimental consciousness projection system developed by Dr. Okafor based on the Sentinel technology. "It's insane," Chief Engineer Ramos declared during final preparations. "We're betting everything on the assumption that this cosmic horror can be confused." "Not confused," Maya corrected. "Engaged. If it feeds on patterns, we'll give it a pattern it's never encountered before. Human consciousness, with all its contradictions and irrationality." "And you're volunteering to be the bait," he said, concern evident in his voice. Maya's smile was grim. "Who else would I send?" The Allied fleet assembled at the edge of the Ta Siti system, the first target in the Leviathan's path. 117 ships from 5 different species, the largest combined fleet in known history. And in the center of that formation, the Dauntless waited, modified with technology from all 5 civilizations. At its core, a chamber where Captain Maya Chen would attempt something never before conceived. Long-range sensors detected the Void Leviathan's approach, a distortion in space-time that grew larger with each passing hour. The colony on Ta Siti had been evacuated as much as possible, but thousands still remained, protected only by the untested defensive measures the Alliance had hastily deployed. In her quarters, Maya recorded one final message to be sent to Earth if the mission failed. She spoke of hope, of cooperation between species, of humanity's place in a larger community of sentient beings. She spoke of sacrifice and duty. Then she made her way to the modified chamber at the heart of the ship, where Dr. Okafor waited with her team. "Are you ready, Captain?" the scientist asked, her expression betraying her concern. Maya nodded as she settled into the neural interface chair. "Remember, if this works, the Leviathan will be drawn to me instead of the colony. The fleet needs to be ready to implement Phase 2 the moment that happens." "And if it doesn't work?" Maya's eyes met hers steadily. "Then you get this ship and as many colonists as possible out of here." The interface activated, connecting Maya's consciousness to the modified Sentinel technology. She felt her awareness expand, reaching beyond the confines of the ship, beyond her physical form. And in the darkness of space, she felt it. An ancient hunger, a void that consumed all it touched. The Leviathan had arrived. Maya Chen reached out her mind toward the cosmic horror and called its name. Breaking the void. In the neural interface chamber, Maya's physical body remained motionless, but her consciousness soared through the vacuum of space, propelled by technology that merged human intuition with alien precision. The experience was overwhelming. Stars burned like beacons, planetary bodies pulsed with life energy, and ahead, the Void Leviathan loomed. It was impossible to truly comprehend its form. To Maya's expanded senses, it appeared as a writhing darkness that bent light around it, a cosmic anomaly that violated the laws of physics by its very existence. It was ancient beyond measure, a predator that had consumed civilizations since stars first formed. "I see you," Maya projected, focusing her thoughts into a concentrated beam. "I know what you are." The entity paused in its approach toward Ta Siti. For the first time in recorded history, the Void Leviathan diverted from its path. It turned, if such a concept could be applied to its alien geometry, toward the Dauntless. "It's working." Dr. Okafor's voice seemed distant, filtering through Maya's altered consciousness. "The Leviathan is changing course, moving toward our position." In the interface chamber, monitors displayed Maya's brain activity spiking to dangerous levels. Her body trembled, blood trickling from her nose as the neural load threatened to overwhelm her. "Her systems are redlining," one of the medical officers warned. We need to pull her out. Not yet, Dr. Okafor insisted, her eyes fixed on the cosmic dance playing out on the main screen. She's making contact. In the void between stars, Maya felt the entity's attention, ancient, cold, and utterly alien. It probed her consciousness, seeking the patterns it understood, the ordered thoughts it could consume. Instead, Maya gave it chaos. She flooded the connection with human contradictions, love and hate existing side by side, courage born from fear, hope rising from despair. She showed it art that defied logical explanation, music that stirred emotions beyond reason, poetry that found beauty in destruction. The Leviathan recoiled, then pressed forward with greater intensity, drawn to this new form of complexity it had never encountered before. You consume patterns, Maya projected. You feed on order, but we create from disorder. We find meaning in randomness. We are chaos that builds. Aboard the Dauntless, alarms blared as the ship's systems detected the Leviathan's approach. All ships, execute Phase 2. Commander Jackson ordered, taking command while the captain's consciousness was elsewhere. Fire dimensional anchors on my mark. Throughout the Allied fleet, crews rushed to implement the second phase of Maya's plan. If she could hold the Leviathan's attention, they might have a chance to trap it, however temporarily. The ships of the Eridu Dominion moved into position, their crystalline hulls channeling massive amounts of energy. The Noor vessels deployed sensor arrays in a precise formation, creating a detection grid that could track the Leviathan's dimensional shifts. The Mira Consortium's ships pulsed with gaseous energies, ready to create localized space-time distortions. And at strategic points throughout the formation, human vessels prepared to introduce calculated randomness to the equation, timing their actions not by computer precision, but by human intuition. In the neural interface, Maya felt the Leviathan's confusion turn to something like rage. It was not accustomed to resistance, to prey that fought back by defying categorization. For countless millennia, it had consumed civilizations that followed predictable evolutionary paths, species that developed along logical lines it could anticipate and exploit. Humanity was different. Their development erratic, their decisions often defying their own self-interest, their creativity spawning in directions that no algorithm could predict. We are not what you expected, Maya projected, even as she felt her consciousness beginning to fray under the strain. We are not what any advanced intelligence would predict. The Void Leviathan surged forward, its vast form distorting space around the fleet. It no longer cared about the colony. All its ancient hunger now focused on this new, confounding presence that dared to challenge it. Now, Jackson commanded. Throughout the fleet, ships fired their specialized weapons simultaneously. The dimensional anchors, technology derived from Arufal designs and enhanced by the Alliance, struck the Leviathan from multiple vectors. Space itself seemed to warp and twist as the anchors activated, creating a containment field that temporarily bound the entity to a single-dimensional plane. The Leviathan writhed, its form becoming more visible as it lost the ability to phase between dimensions. Containment at 67% and holding, reported Science Officer Abernethy. We've actually trapped part of it. But the victory was short-lived. The Leviathan's power was immense, and already the dimensional anchors were beginning to fail under its assault. In the neural interface, Maya sensed the entity's mounting fury, and something else beneath it. For the first time, she glimpsed what might be the true nature of the Void Leviathan. It's not just feeding, she gasped, her physical body speaking while her mind remained connected. It's searching. Dr. Okafor leaned closer. Searching for what, Captain? For an end, Maya whispered. It's ancient, perhaps one of the first entities to evolve in our universe. It's been consuming civilizations, seeking one that might finally understand it, or end its existence. The realization struck her with the force of revelation. The Void Leviathan wasn't simply a predator. It was an intelligence that had existed for so long it had forgotten its own purpose. It consumed because that was all it knew how to do, an ancient being trapped in an endless cycle of destruction. Change of plans, Maya announced, her voice strained. Prepare to execute contingency Prometheus. Throughout the fleet, commanders exchanged concerned glances. Contingency Prometheus was Maya's backup plan, considered so risky it had been deemed a last resort. Captain, Jackson protested, that protocol hasn't been tested. The energy requirements alone could burn out half our fleet systems. We don't have a choice, Maya insisted. The dimensional anchors won't hold it much longer. Signal the fleet. All ships prepare to channel maximum power to the Dauntless on my mark. In space, the containment field around the Leviathan was visibly deteriorating, space-time rippling, as the entity fought against its bonds. It would break free within minutes, and when it did, its rage would be devastating. Maya deepened her connection with the neural interface, pushing her consciousness beyond safe limits. I understand what you are now, she projected toward the ancient entity. You're not just a consumer of worlds. You're a survivor from the universe's infancy. You've outlived your purpose. The Leviathan's response wasn't in words but in sensations, eons of solitude, endless hunger, and beneath it all, a fatigue so profound it transcended physical understanding. We can help you, Maya continued, not by destroying you, but by offering what you've truly been seeking: transformation. Throughout the fleet, each ship diverted power from all non-essential systems, channeling energy through specially designed conduits toward the Dauntless. The human vessel began to glow with accumulated power, its hull straining under forces it was never designed to contain. Energy transfer at 80%. Chief Engineer Ramos reported, his voice tight with tension. Core temperature approaching critical levels. In the interface chamber, Maya's body arched in pain as her mind pushed beyond human limitations. Blood flowed freely from her nose and ears now. She can't take much more of this, the medical officer warned. Dr. Okafor checked the readings. 2 more minutes. She needs 2 more minutes to complete the connection. Out in space, the dimensional anchors began to fail one by one. The Leviathan's form started to phase back into multi-dimensional space, its freedom imminent. All ships, final power transfer now, Jackson ordered. A surge of combined energy, human and alien, flowed into the Dauntless, channeled through systems designed by 5 different species working together. The ship's hull began to crack under the strain, emergency force fields activating to maintain structural integrity. In the neural interface, Maya gathered this immense energy and shaped it with her consciousness, not into a weapon, but into a key. You've consumed countless civilizations seeking meaning, she projected to the Leviathan. Let us give you what the Aruthal and all the others couldn't, a new purpose. With everything she had left, Maya sent the combined energy of the fleet into the very heart of the void Leviathan. Not to destroy it, but to awaken something dormant within its ancient consciousness. For a moment that seemed to stretch into eternity, nothing happened. The Leviathan hung suspended in space, half-trapped by the failing dimensional anchors, its darkness absolute. Then, slowly, impossibly, it began to change. Light sparked within its void-like form, pinpricks at first, then growing, spreading like stars being born. The darkness didn't vanish, but instead transformed, becoming a canvas for creation rather than destruction. Throughout the fleet, crews watched in awe as the void Leviathan metamorphosed before their eyes. Its vast form, once a devourer of worlds, now pulsed with nascent energies that radiated rather than absorbed. What's happening? Jackson breathed, staring at the main screen. Dr. Okafor checked her readings, her eyes wide with wonder. She did it. Somehow, she's triggered a fundamental change in its energy signature. It's no longer consuming, it's generating. In the neural interface, Maya felt the ancient entity's transformation resonating through her consciousness. For a brief, transcendent moment, she understood what it had been before it became the void Leviathan. A cosmic catalyst meant to seed new creation after universal cycles of destruction. Remember what you were meant to be, she projected with her fading strength. Remember and become that again. With a final surge of energy that overloaded systems throughout the Dauntless, the connection broke. Maya collapsed in the interface chair, her consciousness snapping back to her body with devastating force. The medical team rushed to stabilize her as the ship's emergency systems fought to contain cascading failures. "Get her to medical now," Dr. Okafor ordered as they transferred Maya to a stretcher. "And someone tell me what's happening out there." Commander Jackson's voice came through the comms. "The Leviathan. It's leaving. But it's different. The sensors can barely make sense of it anymore." In space, the transformed entity began to move away from Ta City, no longer a void consuming light, but a kaleidoscope of energies that seemed to enhance the very fabric of space-time it passed through. Where before stars dimmed in its presence, now they seemed to shine more brightly. 3 days later, Maya awoke in the medical bay. Her first conscious thought was of the entity. "The Leviathan?" she asked, her voice weak. Dr. Okafor, who had barely left her side, smiled with relief. "Gone beyond our sensor range, but before it left, it did something to the Ta City star. Stabilized its stellar output somehow. The scientists are still trying to understand it. And the fleet, the colony, both safe. The allied species are calling it the Prometheus Protocol now, the day humanity brought fire to the stars." Dr. Okafor paused. "They want to know how you knew it would work." Maya closed her eyes, remembering the connection she'd shared with the ancient entity. "I didn't, but I understood what it was, not just a destroyer but a force that had forgotten its purpose. Sometimes the universe doesn't need more destruction. Sometimes it needs a reminder of what creation looks like." 2 weeks later, Maya stood on the observation deck of the Dauntless as representatives from each allied species gathered for a formal ceremony. Her body was still recovering. Neural damage that would likely never fully heal, the doctors had told her, but she had insisted on attending. Kelvor of the Noor Collective approached her, compound eyes shimmering with respect. "Captain Chen, my people have a saying. The darkest void often holds the brightest potential. We never truly understood its meaning until now." Maya smiled. "We humans have a similar concept, that even in our darkest moments, we can find light if we're willing to create it. The Sentinel archives have been updated with the knowledge we gained. Xylos of the Eridu Dominion added, crystal form reflecting the starlight. Future civilizations will know of what happened here, how 5 species together accomplished what the Aruthal could not." "And what was that, exactly?" Maya asked. Lassie of the Mira Consortium floated forward, gaseous form swirling thoughtfully. "The Aruthal sought to destroy what they could not understand. They saw only a threat to be eliminated, but you saw beyond the threat to the possibility beneath. Human unpredictability," Kelvor noted. "A quality our simulations consistently fail to model accurately. It seems chaos has its virtues." Maya gazed out at the stars, thinking of the transformed Leviathan, now traveling through distant systems. The Allied scientists believed it was no longer consuming worlds, but instead rejuvenating dying stars, restoring cosmic balance in ways they were only beginning to understand. "Unpredictability is just another word for adaptation," she said. "When faced with the unknown, sometimes the greatest strength is the willingness to try something new, even if it defies logic." As the ceremony concluded, the Allied representatives finalized the establishment of a new interstellar coalition, more than just a military alliance, but a commitment to sharing knowledge, resources, and perspectives across species boundaries. Maya would return to Earth as humanity's first ambassador to this new coalition. The journey would be long, giving her time to prepare humanity for its new place in a much larger community than anyone had imagined. Standing alone on the observation deck after the others had departed, Maya placed her hand against the transparent aluminum window, feeling the coolness against her palm. "We're not alone anymore," she whispered to the stars. "And neither are you." Somewhere in the vast darkness between galaxies, the entity that had once been the Void Leviathan continued its journey of transformation. And in its wake, new possibilities blossomed, not just for survival, but for understanding across the greatest void of all, the space between different minds trying to comprehend an infinite universe. Maya Chen smiled, turned from the viewport, and prepared to lead humanity into its next chapter, not as conquerors or victims, but as mediators between order and chaos, finding strength in the beautiful unpredictability that had saved them all.